Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Chess24 Live. Apologies for the slightly longer break than planned. Not our fault, I'm afraid. The official site's had some problems, and that means problems for us, but we will do our best to cover the games. We're looking specifically today at Anand Ponomarev and Vallejo Pons versus Aronian. I'm here with the man of the year, Jan Gustafsson. He got voted man. You got voted man of the year, didn't you, by Schach magazine?
I don't think I did.
Oh no, sorry, it wasn't you. I keep on getting somebody else, but I'm sure one day you'll.
Anyway, the good news is we have a lot of moves in the games.
Oh.
Vishy, Anand, a lot of fans out there are rightly waiting for updates on what's going on. So let's go
doing a bit of
straight there.
Bollywood Bangra.
That is once again very disturbing. We've seen the position around here after a4. Only white can be better, but I wasn't clear how to make progress. Ponomarev decided against the maneuver I was lobbying for with knight c7, knight a6, went queen to b7, queen to c2, bishop e7, pretty much relying on this waiting policy you've been mentioning. And Anand is just taking his time here trying to improve the position as we're nearing slightly at a slow pace, but we're still getting closer to the time control. Ponomarev, not a lot of time. The PGN's not all that accurate when it comes to the times, but he did spend a lot. Bishop d2, bishop d8. Players just shuffling a bit back and forth here. And black is clearly the one who has to be extremely careful because he has more weaknesses. h7 is weak, d6 is weak, a5 is weak. It does not look all that pleasant to defend this position against the great champion that is Vishy Anand. Rook b7 will click through this quickly to get to the current position because Anand here decided to break with f4. What do you think?
Well, white's obviously for preference. That's without a shadow of a doubt. But actually, next few moves, ef4 forced was played. Rook f4. Rook f4, bishop f4, rook f7. I'm just like, okay, a pair of rooks has come off. As the defender, I like the fact that a piece has come off.
Right.
I'm not sure how bad black's position really is.
No, it depends if white can get to one of these weaknesses at some point. Now he's forced the action by playing f4, so you really want to get close to this d6 pawn and try to pick it up at some point. Not possible yet, so Anand went back bishop d2. Had he gone bishop takes d6, well,
rook d7.
He's once again running into this rook d7 move, and it does not look all that pleasant. e5 runs into another
f5,
unpleasant surprise with bishop f5, and you lose the queen. So he couldn't take. He went back bishop to d2, and bishop to e7 was played, which is a position we have on the board. Here, the one question is, why not bishop takes a5?
Can you take on g5?
Probably. Bishop g5. Now I have a passed a pawn. Shouldn't that help me? Let's say I go bishop to c3 back.
Yeah. Well,
not quite sure. I'd still take white. Ponomarev has done pretty well to hang in there, and his pieces are kind of active. But it still looks unpleasant to deal with this guy. And of course, Anand doesn't have to take on a5 if he doesn't want to. But I still like white's position better here.
Yes.
These cat sounds are helping the show. Thanks a lot for that. Let's switch to the other game where we have reached a rook ending.
Rook ending.
Paco Vallejo with white against Levan Aronian. And we'll just stay with the position because they just passed the time control and we got a lot of moves in a very quick pace.
Wow, look at this.
This is the position they have on the board. Vallejo just played c4.
But Vallejo's saved this one, hasn't he?
Giving up
what
the
happens
pawn
after b4?
Temporarily.
I didn't understand.
Just bring the king, right? King c2.
Oh, rook a3.
I don't know. c6, I'm getting some counterplay here. And I could also take on h6.
Yeah, but then rook c3 and rook c4. Looks...
Let's try c6.
Okay, a5. Wait a second, I'm going to get mated. I'll go a5 first.
You probably should. What do I do here? Go d5?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Let's try d5, see what happens.
Okay, I'll check.
Check. King b2.
I'll take.
Take. I'll give a little check. King a7. Rook c8.
King b6.
Doesn't work, right? And once again, showing my tremendous skills of
You are
using a rook ending immediately.
You are a fantastic rook ending.
Yeah, now this looks good for black. Not sure why he didn't go b4.
I don't understand. There must be a move. Let's have a real think, because I was looking at this position.
Maybe you just go d5.
Okay. Rook a2 check.
King d3.
a5. Or am I gonna?
My own guys.
Hold
d6,
on. Am I gonna? Yeah, I'm capable of losing this one. No, I'm probably not losing, but well, yeah.
No, this looks like white has contemplated all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So Aronian decided to just
He
take
just
on
took,
c4.
but this is a dead draw.
But now just king c3.
This is a total draw.
And yeah, it doesn't look like you can get anywhere really. Bit of a Houdini job by Paco Vallejo there.
No, this is a dead draw. I think they'll even shake hands soon because you can't hold on to c4 and h6.
Yeah, if you went rook a4.
Well, you could even be worse
takes
here.
h6.
You can even be a lot. No, you could lose. No, he's not going to play rook a4.
Right.
He's going to play a move like, I don't know, he's going to play like rook.
Well, rook g6.
Rook g6, d5?
You're trying to win with white.
Yeah. I'm very optimistic.
Say a5. I don't think you can
King
win.
c4?
a4.
Nothing would give me greater pleasure than beating you here. Nah, it's
not me against you. And also,
I
you're
know.
not beating me here.
I know.
No, this just is bound to peter out.
Yeah,
and
it's a
end
good
in
draw. No, it's going to end in a draw, isn't it?
And yeah, a bit of an escape for
Real
Paco
escape.
if we resume some moves, which we now got. Like, we've seen this type of ending where white is worse, but had some hopes because black has this h-pawn, which could run up the board. Bishop c6, knight f3. It very quickly transposed into a pure rook ending.
Yeah.
Levon decided to take on f3. Even this, still pretty unpleasant for black. Rook h2 check, king d3. Rook takes a2. Rook g7.
Right.
White a pawn down at the moment. He's pinning his hopes on rook to f7 and rook takes c7. So Aronian defended against that with king to b8. Rook to h7 and rook e2. Still looks very dangerous for white, doesn't it?
Well, you're
Rook
threatening mate.
d2 check is a bit of a threat. So he had to go c5.
b5.
Aronian, of course, went b5.
And
Still
then-
keeping up this mating threat. Rook e3. Bit surprised he took here, I gotta say. Not sure he was forced to
Well,
do that.
what do? You want to play rook ed2 check?
Let's try something, yeah.
I'm not sure.
King e4.
What do you do now? You might have to go back because I think king d5 is a monster threat.
Right.
And with an active king and the two rooks, I think white's winning.
Could very well be.
I think you have to do it.
I'm not sure. They did take, and after king takes e3, looks like it's bound to peter out to draw, really. This h-pawn is not much of a factor anymore, and with 3 against 3, and white being active, being able to build his own passes on the king side, in the center, really. It's not that much you can hope for here. Rook a3, king d2, rook a6, and c4.
Good move, c4.
Yeah, the one question
Move 40
is what happens after b4.
I think you answered it
But
with
yeah,
d5.
this d5 looks active enough to either keep black tied up or build your own pass pawn after rook a3 with d6. That there is not that much black can really hope for here. So this is going to end in a draw. Let's go back to the Anand game, right? Let's see, we have some fresh moves here. Let's just look at the position they have on the board right now. Yeah, Aronian not even trying to win anymore. He just gave back the pawn. Went king c3, c6. Rook takes h6, king b7. And it is time to shake hands. King takes c4, 2 against 2. Not much to
Nothing to
hope
do.
for here. So the players will shake hands. Good escape for Paco Vallejo.
Massive result for Paco, in my opinion.
Yeah, live on Aronian. An easy day at the office was better with black out of the opening, but he did fail to, well, we can't say convert because I'm not sure he had a winning advantage, but he did fail to break through and win this game against Vallejo.
It's kind of unfair, right?
What is?
You know, you've got an advantage the whole game, and then suddenly he can just get into a rook ending that's drawn. It's kind of...
Well, it always takes both sides, and I think Paco did a very, very good job hanging in there once he got in.
Do you
this
not think he
unpleasant position.
deserves like a quarter of a point for his efforts?
Who?
Levon.
Like a quarter instead of half a point, so less? Or you want to give him 0.75 points?
That's what I mean, yeah, a quarter more, 0.75.
No, I don't think
Paco
so.
didn't really deserve a full half point here,
I think he does.
does he?
I think
Am I
he did
being
a
harsh?
very good saving job after a bad opening, so
Yeah,
he
that
fully
could be
earned
true.
this half point.
Fair enough.
Let's see in the game.
Holy. Well, Vishwanathan.
What did Vishy do?
Vishy is a genius.
Certainly is.
I've always said it.
In the position after bishop e7, he went for rook g2. Probably a very strong idea. Planning
Yeah.
to exchange these light square bishops. Queen b6, bishop g4.
I like this maneuver, very nice.
Very nice. And once this is concluded, white will really have a serious positional edge, as we can see here, because without white's light square bishop, which was kind of impeded by his own pawns on e4, c4, a4, now the holes in black's position start showing. This is, of course, much stronger than the bishop takes a5 I was looking at. Knight to c7, rook to f4. Vishy has always had a knack for exchanging the right pieces, and I think he's doing that here. He's exchanging off all the active black pieces, the bishop on e6, the rook on f7. Now, after rook takes f4, or as in the game, knight e6, rook takes f7, king takes f7, his remaining pieces are just controlling the board.
Queen d5, look at that. World domination.
Absolutely, he made it look easy by just finding the right series of exchanges with rook g2,
But is it
bishop
over
g4.
yet? Is it just over here? Maybe it's
Not
just
sure it's over, but it looks terrible. White is controlling the whole board.
You can't move out
Knight
of the
on
pin.
b5 is blocking everything. All of a sudden you're
A5
in this
is
pin.
weak.
A5 is weak. It's not all that much you can do, really.
I think,
Queen
yeah.
to d8 was played. And king a2, just taking his time. Nice little move, because he spotted that black can't really do anything. Black would love to take on g5.
But knight takes d6.
But
isn't
knight
it?
takes d6 is killing.
King e7.
King e7, just bishop g5.
Bishop g5, and you win the house.
House is gone.
Gewinnt the House. How do you say that in German?
No, that's not a German phrase, really. It's more of an English thing. What do you say in German? Not quite sure.
You don't know any.
Haus und Hof. Gewinnt Haus und Hof.
House and what's a Hof?
Hof is a farm, I guess.
You win the
There's a
house and the farm.
farm.
House and Hof. There
Mm.
you go.
So he didn't take on g5. He went bishop f8, but we can already see it is pretty grim. And now Anand, another strong move, using that pin of the knight. Bishop to f4, queen to d7.
Now what?
So
So
you can still take your time and just defend the pawn if you want to, right? King
Well, no,
a3.
but then the king's getting out of the pin. Can he play king g7 then? I don't know. Oh, then you've got bishop e5 check. That's interesting. And then the bishop goes on f6 if you want it. I think
How do you
Vishy's going to
finish
win.
him off?
Let's have a.
I have zero doubt Vishy's going to come up with this. Let's see if we can too. He just went b3, same idea, defending the a4 pawn, saying
Nice.
you can't really do anything.
Nice move, b3.
I will collect your pieces
Nice
very
move.
soon. Yeah.
So okay, so let's
Looks
say he
pretty
goes
desperate.
king. Oh, king g7. You just take on d6 with the bishop. Or would you throw in this check first? I don't know.
You can also give a little check here,
Yeah.
forcing you back into
Back
the
in
pin.
the bin, yeah.
That's probably
Yeah,
a bit
that's
more
a
unpleasant than
very-
next move you take with
Yeah.
a knight if you
No,
so
that's
fancy.
very strong. That's very strong.
Oh, looks desperate for
Looks
Ponomarev.
bad.
Great job by Anand. It looked like he allowed some, well, not counterplay, but allowed black to settle down a little bit at some point. But then there's rook g2, bishop g4.
Love that.
Really very nice maneuver, very instructive.
Love that move.
Absolutely.
And yeah, let's see if
Very much looks like Anand's gonna get the job done and win the game, while the other game is bound to end in a draw if it hasn't already. Paco Vallejo continuing his good form. I really think that he does deserve credit for holding that position together against Levan Aronian.
the opening was it was a failure though. The opening wasn't.
Yeah, but that's no. The opening went wrong, but normally you wouldn't be surprised if he went down then in this position against a guy like Aronian. Worse ending. You really all you can hope for is to somehow hold it together, and I think he did manage very nicely. I think that's a sign of good form as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
When the
You
opening
save
goes wrong.
your bad games.
Absolutely.
It's interesting because it reminds me of something Carlsen said. You know, Caruana has had this fantastic result in Sinkfield. He won Dortmund. His Olympiad was all right, not bad,
Pretty good, but not
not stellar.
out of this world. Right.
But Caruana's basically had these results this year and so on. And I remember seeing an interview with Magnus saying, "Yeah, well, I've done that for the past 4 years straight. You know, I've put in +2 minimum in these super tournaments
He
for
had a
4
run of
years.
+2 for 21 tournaments in a row.
That's just the most unbelievable
Right.
stat, isn't it? Can you imagine against the opposition? So, what I'm trying to say is, I've forgotten what I was trying to say. I was trying to illustrate a point. You
were
know what I
probably
was trying to say.
That we shouldn't forget. I'm not sure what you were trying to say.
I
We shouldn't forget all of Carlsen's achievements because of one tournament. And you started from. That's important not to lose the bad positions, maybe.
Oh,
To
maybe
hold them
that's
together.
why I'm relating to Paco, because that's exactly what Carlsen did. Carlsen is not invincible. He actually gets a lot of dodgy positions, does Magnus, because his openings aren't strong. But somehow, some way, he manages to fix the problem.
Yeah, he's very consistent in that. Yeah, he manages to stick around in all of these. Well, not bad, but the game is not over when he has a bad position. And that's really a key skill, which, for me playing against these guys, I haven't played them that much, but normally when you have a bad position, you're going to get ground down, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have some hope if the opening goes well, and you can even catch them in the opening and have a good position. But to save all these bad positions against 2750, 2800 opposition, it's really a skill only very few people have, and that's why they stick around at the very top. So in the Ponomarev game, of course, Ponomarev now is taking a bit of a timeout, looking desperately for salvation. I don't think it's there. I was thinking as we speak about the move bishop e7, but that runs into, first of all, white can take on d6, but maybe it's even more cruel to just play bishop d2, keeping the position and threatening to go e5, threatening this pawn. I don't see how black
So
can hold
queen
everything
d8?
together. Queen d8. How do I finish you off here? I'm not 100% sure. Missed that move.
Knight a7, yeah, I was gonna-
it looks a bit too creative already. Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, for draw.
Nah, why should keep playing here?
You don't want draw?
No, I don't want draw. So bishop e7, how do we finish off the game? Can you take on d6?
No.
I think you can. Black probably has to take, right?
Yeah.
Here, either capture, but probably bishop takes. Yeah, that's easier than this silly bishop d2 move.
Yeah, why didn't we see that?
We did see that.
Did we?
Yeah, this is just winning, right? Pawn up, and Black still has these weaknesses on c5 and a5. I don't think he can really hold this together. Not a good day at the office for Ponomarev. And also a very interesting system that Anand played, which really seems to be
It's just a great
catching
system.
on this h3 and g4 idea. Let's
Just a great
briefly
system.
go back to the opening.
It's just a great system.
h3, e5, d5, bishop e3 and g4, really playing for kind of a full court press. You want to control the queen side and the king side. While in the normal King's Indian, you try to smash through in on the queen side, but you give up the king side in a way. What are you doing?
Full court press. This is how I imagine this opening. This is, it's like you want everything, you know?
All right.
The full court press. The full court press. The full court massage. You know? If it was a
Some very
king
nice
side, it would
graphic
just be
illustration
like that. King side, this is a king's gambit.
Who needs live video if you have Lawrence Trent doing this?
No,
and
just
this?
take the Houdini. If you know, winning, full court press.
Beautifully done. No, I really like the system. I think I'm going to have to study it a little bit
I
at
think
some
you should
point.
play it.
Maybe I should play
I think
it.
they're going to expose you though for moving your G pawn up the board.
Yeah,
They're
no, I
going to
feel
get in
comfortable.
F5.
They're just going to get an F5 and smash it open and checkmate me, right? Oh, it's King's Indian. It's a horrible, horrible opening. I never know what to do against it.
What's
Bishop
happening?
e7 is on the board, and it's decision time for Mr. Anand. I don't think he can really go very wrong. Everything does look great.
Why can't you just take on D6? It's very strange, isn't it?
We got a tweet from Brian
Tweet.
Rodegiro. I'm not sure it's a compliment or an insult. It's probably a bit of both, which is fair enough.
I like those.
Sinkerfield Cup. Yasser was awesome. Maurice was great. And Jen was easier on the eyes than you two. Fair enough so far. But it's not the same without you two.
Is that what he said at the end?
That's what he said at the end.
I kind of. Thanks, Brian.
We appreciate
We'll take
it.
that. That's a compliment.
Yeah.
But I understand we are certainly not easier on the eyes. Well, Jan.
No, you're the eye candy here in this setup.
You're kind of cute in your own.
Disturbing.
You know, people. I'm just quoting people. What people have told me. They find you cute.
I'm not sure what people you've been speaking to. Are they related to me?
No, they're
Oh,
mostly
even better.
men in their 40s and 50s.
Yeah, fair enough.
They hang out in these, you know, these bars in Southern America, the US, Texas.
Let's
you
not
know.
forget we're starting with the premise that these are people you're speaking to, right?
Yeah, no, these are people. Yeah, I did a little.
So you're speaking to these men in their 40s and 50s hanging
Yeah.
out in these bars. In
Yeah, yeah, I am. Yeah.
No
And
offense
they-
to anybody. If you're a man in your 40s and 50s hanging
No,
out in
there's
bars
no
in
problem.
Texas, what's
But
wrong
after
with
you
that?
know the ones with the billiard table, it's really smoky inside. They're wearing kind of biker jackets,
Right.
got big beards and tattoos.
Is that part of your beer society meetings?
There is an international beard society association. I'm only registered to the local one though, but no, it's not to do with that.
Right.
I'm just saying that these are the guys that have called you cute and kind of.
Well, if you got any context, let me know.
I
I'm
will.
always, like,
Are you
very
ever
happy to get in touch.
you like going over to the US? You like you're more of a New Yorker though, aren't you?
Yeah, I've spent most of my time in the US and New York, which I love. I mean, like, it's really the only place where I can just walk around the streets of Brooklyn or Manhattan and, you know, just watch stuff going on. There's so much happening. It's
There
so
is a lot.
impressive. I haven't traveled the States much apart from New York. I've been to Miami, which I was not a huge fan of. I mean,
Yeah.
they have a nice beach,
I've
and
been
I
there
haven't
too.
seen that much, but
Yeah, I've been to both
I
New
didn't
York
spend
and
enough
Miami.
time to, you know, find my way
Miami
around.
isn't really a city of culture. It's
Yeah. I'm not a big culture guy
yeah,
either,
I
but New
know.
York, there's just so much to see even without knowing your way around. And in
But there's a
Miami,
lot. Yeah,
I
there's
didn't have
there's a
of
lot
time
more.
to check
There's a
it
lot
out.
more to see, in my opinion. And but you have to put Texas on your You're on your bucket list.
Well, I have to
Oh.
go to Dallas, watch our guy Dirk Nowitzki play as long as he's still around.
That's right, Big Dirk.
Absolutely.
Is he still around?
He's going to play
How
like
did
1, 2,
Germany
3 more
do?
years.
Did Spain lose to France, by the way? In the
Spain lost to France in the basketball
Unbelievable.
World Cup or whatever it's
Pepe
called.
was very unhappy about this.
Yeah, we were all waiting for the Spain-USA final. It didn't happen.
Has the competition finished already?
I think the final is actually being played today, maybe as we speak. I'm
Who-
not sure
who is
who's
it,
in
the US?
It's the US against Serbia or one of those.
Wow.
I haven't followed much. Ever
What
since
happened to
Spain got
Germany?
kicked out. Germany was never in the conversation.
Really?
No. I think Nowitzki retired from international play and we don't have the depth.
Right.
So,
Anyway, back to the chess, no?
back to the chess. Vishy Anand is trying to find the cleanest way to finish the game after bishop e7. The caveman way, which we were looking at, is knight takes d6, which looks pretty effective if you ask me. Bishop takes d6, just bishop takes d6. One question could be after knight d6 if there's king to f8. Also looks pretty grim for black, but maybe that's a more resilient move. If bishop to e5, you could take on g5, and you still have to be in deep, deep trouble, but it's not obvious it's game over right yet.
Queen a8 and queen takes a5, maybe.
Yeah,
You got queen
d8
d8.
or like that,
Yeah,
right?
I'm not sure you do. Queen.
Let's give it a try.
I'm not sure you do.
D8,
Queen a7.
a7. It is pretty grim.
Oh,
You probably messed up. Bishop e7.
oh, bishop e7.
And queen is coming in, right? Queen
Oh dear.
d2.
Oh dear. Yeah, I've botched it.
It's not that straightforward, but I have zero doubts Anand will manage here.
Will you give me 5 to 1?
Yeah, I'll give you 5 to 1.
Oh.
So I
Nah.
have zero doubts. How can I not take
You
5
give
to
me
1?
5 to 1?
Yeah.
Give me 10.
No.
8?
5 to 1 was already generous and I accept it.
Generous. The guy's got +3 on the computer. He's a world champion.
Well, you seem to have doubts. And 5 to 1. That means he's
Give
supposed
me
to
8.
score what?
What you're telling 5 to 1? He's scoring. He's messing this up once in every 5. That's what it means. Twice in every 10. No.
That means he's scoring 9 out of 10 in this position.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah,
Okay.
kind of fair.
I'm not going to take you up on this occasion. Thank you though for the interest.
But I took you up on your offer.
I asked you, would you give me 5 to 1? But that
Can't
wasn't.
do business with this guy. Always like weaseling out at the last minute.
No,
you
we
take him
always
up or
say, yeah,
something.
okay. Well, there's always an agreement at the end, isn't there?
Yeah.
I owe you
Would you give me 5 to 1?
I owe
Yes,
you
that's
5
like-
Diet Cokes.
Oh, you owe me a lot of stuff. That's very true. Let's see what's
Send us your
going on.
tweets, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on? Nothing?
No, just the usual
Go on.
insults. Enough with the bromance and the weird American talk. That's what people are saying.
It's all right.
Yeah, can't blame them.
Hey, if you want a more standard show, listen to Leon's show.
I'm not
He won't be
there's
talking
some
about
technical
bars.
problems. No, the other show is only in Spanish, but yeah.
Oh, that's in Spanish, but that's really your only other option, ladies and gentlemen. You won't find anything about basketball anywhere else. Well, you might.
Might be some basketball
Might be.
around. Anyway, there's one game running. It's Vishy Anand. He does have a kind of winning position against Ruslan Ponomarev. He's trying how to figure out how to finish the game. Knight takes d6, then you gotta calculate king f8, which looks very good for white still. After bishop e5, bishop takes. Let's say bishop to c3. I think it's unholdable, but I'm not sure you want to go for this kind of transformation where at the very least black has a passed h-pawn, material is still equal. It's a tough call to make.
I don't think it's so clear.
It's probably still pretty bad. Queen e5 is in the air, a5 is hanging. I don't think you can hold this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've learned.
Let's make some moves. h5, queen e5 maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, it feels very. Feels very bad.
Yeah, I think it's unholdable. Black only has his h-pawn to hope for, but it looks pretty desperate. Let's see if they made a move.
He did. I think he took on d6, Jan,
Did?
with the knight.
I don't think he did.
Huh? Oh,
I think he's still thinking. Bishop e7.
Okay.
There is some problems with getting the moves from the side, as we've
Yeah.
mentioned before. We're sorry about that.
not our fault, ladies and gentlemen.
Nah, it's
Unfortunately,
all our fault.
it's It's unfortunately everyone is suffering today, but you know.
You know, suffering the most, it's Ruslan Ponomarev. He's down to 2717. I think he was a bit higher rated.
He was
usually,
2740 normally, isn't
right?
he? Right. Yeah, he's down
He
a
hasn't
bit.
been that active. He's settled down in Spain.
Has he got
I think.
kids?
I don't know if he's got kids.
When's
Vishy Anand, of course, this is well documented. Does he have two already?
two? I think he's got two, right?
I know he has one.
I know he had a boy, but I thought he had a girl as well.
No.
No? Am I going crazy?
I haven't heard of this. Let us know if there's anything we've missed.
How many children does Vishy Anand have? Am I going mad?
That's always a distinct possibility.
No,
he
that
has
is.
a son, Achil.
I know he has a son, but I thought he had a daughter. But maybe maybe I'm just losing my mind.
Very possible.
Tweet us, hashtag C24Live. How many kids does Vishy Anand have? I might be going mad. I think you're right.
I think I am right. Still, bishop e7, knight takes d6, king f8. This bothers me. There's no clear win. Bishop e5 looks like the correct move. You gotta stay in contact with that knight. Bishop e5, bishop takes g5. And I like the move bishop c3 too, just attacking the a5 pawn. After h5 there has to be something conclusive.
Well, I'll just take that pawn off.
You can just take on a5.
Just say
So think about e5. There was a move queen e5, which we mentioned earlier. Not quite sure. Let's say we take. What can black ever do?
h4.
Pawn
Push.
is not really going anywhere, is it?
No.
I can always go e5 to control this h1, or even the h3 square. Even if I go e5 now.
e5 because you've got queen f3 check.
Yeah.
If h3, queen f3.
Well, it's still knight f4.
But then bishop d2 is end of
Be a
game.
bit precise, but yeah. Knight f4 and use the pin, and it's kind of over.
Use the force, Luke.
Yeah, it doesn't look very attractive for black. Now this would be game over. So Anand has a bit of a decision to make. He can take on d6. He can also play a move like bishop d2, and after queen d8. You know, you could even think about working with Zugzwang, doing nothing here. King b1. What does black ever do?
Have you ever worked with Zugzwang?
I've tried working with Zugzwang quite a bit.
I did once as well, and I found him very difficult to get along with.
Yeah, these Germans, they're not pleasant people.
I said, excuse me, can you stop putting me in positions, you know, that make me feel so uncomfortable? I can barely move. I found him very, it was like we're having a bad relationship, you know, with these women who just don't stop calling you and very jealous.
I fully understand.
It was me and Zugzwang. So I actually cheated on Zugzwang.
For the viewers who don't know, Zugzwang is a German word used frequently in English as well, meaning you're forced to make a move when you'd rather not.
Forced to make a move that worsens your position.
Yeah, exactly. You'd rather pass than making a move,
Right.
so whatever you're playing will worsen your position. And I'm not sure, after king b1 here, for example, I don't see a good move for black, at least.
That's why I went with Zwischenzug and said I found Zwischenzug a lot nicer to be with.
Zwischenzug is intermediate move.
Yeah.
But what do you do after king b1? I really don't see a move.
Queen b6.
How do I win?
Very frustrating, isn't it, this position? You kind of want to put that knight on f.
I'll keep passing king c2.
Okay. I'll keep passing. Queen d8.
Right. At some point you gotta cash in, right? And play bishop f4. Not sure this is the point.
Yep. Similar to what we've seen, isn't it?
Yeah, very similar. White has all the time in the world. Black really can't improve his position, but you still have to finish him off at some point, either by playing bishop f4 or doing something else. I think it's unholdable, and Vichy is just trying to figure out how to be precise here. And he did take on d6 after a long thought of 12 minutes 56 seconds. He went knight takes d6, decided it was pointless to wait around with moves like the ones we were just looking at. And bishop takes d6, I think we've established just bishop takes d6, and it's more or less game over. White is a pawn up, these pawns are weak, black can't really do anything. So the only move to prolong the fight is the move king to f8.
Yeah, I like that move. I think he'll do that.
He's got to do that. And black actually is still not threatening anything. If you, let's make a random move, king to b1, knight takes f4, runs into queen f7, checkmate.
Holy moly.
So even a move like king b1, which is not going to be played, still leaves you better because black really can't move anything. You still don't want to go bishop takes d6. You don't want to move the knight. Are you thinking about knight takes g5 or some tricks?
Yeah, I'm trying to be tricky, you know. You know me.
I do know your tricky instincts. Knight takes g5. Does this work? Still bad. Not so simple.
No. It really isn't.
So after king f8, how do we finish the game? How hard can this be?
I don't think there is an easy finish.
Maybe you're right. Still like the move bishop e5, but it's a bit strange to give up this g5 pawn.
What else are you going to do?
Could think about
e5? Might
no,
lose.
e5 you can't do bishop d6.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Knight takes f4. Yeah,
What?
probably he's gonna go bishop e5. Not really clear what else to do. Hang on.
Don't do it, Captain.
There's a trick.
There is?
Not sure this is gonna happen, but it's nice. e5,
Yep.
and if bishop takes d6,
Yeah.
now you just move the bishop away.
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
Using this little pin.
That's stunning. That's beautiful.
Looks absolutely... not sure if absolutely crushing, but it looks pretty strong.
It looks
because
really
next
strong.
move you go e takes d6.
Oh,
and
well,
you
no,
can
once you get the
transform.
pawn there, forget about it. Forget about it.
And of course the other point is that e5, knight takes f4. There is queen to f7, checkmate. So this looks pretty strong, but is he gonna do that? Wouldn't be easy to come up with it.
Anand only has one child. I am going mad. I could have...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I agreed. I'm losing my marbles. World Junior Championship starts 5th of October. No, we're not going to be commentating on that one. Are we?
Probably not, no.
No, because I'm going to be in Vegas.
Our friend Robin van Kampen is in there.
Oh, is he? Okay.
In the under 20. I
Right.
think there is one World Junior under 20 and then there's a separate event
Right.
for under 10 till under 18.
I think that's in South Africa
I always
pretty
mix
much
those
now,
two up.
yeah. So, no. Sean O'Connor says, I made a sweet Zugzwang t-shirt. Wow. Thanks, Sean. We'll take a look at that in the break.
We like a Zugzwang t-shirt.
I am going mad, as Sravan Krishna said. Okay, beautiful. This is a tricky position. I've got a feeling they're both going to be spending quite a bit of time on this. Why don't we go and get caffeinated so we can be functioning for the final... It'll probably be the final part of today's show.
Absolutely.
We'll see the
Vichy
conclusion.
really looks poised to win his first game in the Bilbao Masters, which would be huge for him, keeping up the good vibe and strong play he's had in the candidates.
Yep.
We'll see if he finishes it off in a minute.
Back in two. 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 Good.